Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Financially Forward podcast. Thank you for joining us for episode 2. I'm Kapria, one of your financial coaches here at Scholas.
Hello, everyone, and I'm Cedric. I'm also a financial coach on the learner support team. Our goal with this podcast is to give you real, practical tips about money, things you can start using right away that can help you feel more confident about moving your financial future forward.
So, today we're talking about credit. For a lot of people, credit can feel confusing and maybe even intimidating. But credit plays a big role in so many parts of our life. So, in the next 20 to 30 minutes, we're going to break it down for you: what credit is, why it matters, how to start building it, and what to do if your credit needs some work.
That's right. And by the end of this episode, you'll walk away with tips you can use, things you can start applying this week immediately to start improving your credit. Plus, you'll learn how you can connect with us for free one-on-one financial coaching if you ever need more personalized help.
So, let's start with the basics. Cedric, what exactly is credit and how does it work?
That's a great question, Kapria. So, and a great place to start at as well. Credit is basically your ability to borrow money and pay it back later. Think of it like your financial reputation. So, when a bank, a landlord, or even a phone company looks at your credit, they want to know, if I give this money or this service to you, can I trust you to pay it back on time? Credit is the way they measure that aspect.
So, really, credit is your financial trust score, a track record of how reliable you are when it comes to paying people back.
Exactly right. Credit is basically your financial report card, and it opens or sometimes, unfortunately, can even close the door to opportunities depending on what our credit looks like. Okay, well, Capri, so now that we know what credit is, let's talk about why it really matters. How does credit actually impact someone's life today, and how does it affect their potential opportunities right now based on how their credit score is?
Great question, Cedric. These days, credit scores touch so many parts of our everyday life. If you want to get your first apartment, most landlords will check your credit. If you're buying that nice fancy car or applying for a personal loan, your credit score not only determines whether you're approved, but also what interest rate you'll pay. A better score can translate into thousands of dollars saved over time. Even things like getting a cell phone plan, setting up utilities, applying for that dream job, and even your insurance rates can be affected by credit. So it's not just about borrowing money, it's really about using credit as a tool or leverage to open opportunities and to keep more money in your pocket.
That's a great point, Capria. And I think that's the part people don't always realize. It's not just about whether you're able to get approved for a loan or not. It's about how much that loan ends up costing you in the long run. Two people could both get the same car loan, but the one with a stronger credit score will often pay less in interest and save money over the life of that loan. So good credit doesn't just open doors, it can actually save you money month to month in your bills and expenses.
So let's dive into credit scores, what they are, how they're calculated, and how they relate to your credit report.
That's right. So let's break it down a little further. So your credit report is like a detailed report card of your financial history. It lists out all of your credit accounts, any loans you may have had, payment history and how you've paid those loans in the past, the balances of who you owe and how much you owe, and it'll also show any public records like collections or bankruptcies. Lenders use all of that information in your credit report to assess how you've managed credit over time. Your credit score, on the other hand, is a single number that summarizes all of the activity in your credit report. Those scores will usually fall between 300 and 850. Just remember, the higher the number, the better that credit score is. And that number is just simply based on all of the information in your credit report. Think of it like a grade on your financial report card.
That's a great analogy. Let's talk about the factors that make up your credit score. There are 5 factors. First, there's payment history. Do you pay your bills on time? This is the biggest factor at 35% of your score. Next is your amounts owed or your credit utilization. How much of your available credit are you using? Are you maxing out those cards? This is 30% of your score. Next is the length of credit history. How long have you had credit accounts? This is where you've heard never to close your credit cards because your oldest credit card is going to give you the strongest part of your score for the length of credit history. Then you have new credit. How many new accounts have you opened recently? This is smaller, about 10% of your score. And the last 10% of your score is a credit mix. Having a variety of credit, like a card or a loan, not just one type, will help you boost your score as well.
That's right. And so you could say the report is like the detailed story, and the score is the quick snapshot that lenders use to make decisions.
Also, there are different scoring models. The most common scoring model is FICO, which stands for Fair Isaac Corporation. This scoring model is used by many lenders and is considered the industry standard today. Another scoring model you may be familiar with or that you may see is Vantage Score, which is not as popular as FICO at the moment, but is gaining in popularity. The scores between the two models may vary slightly, so don't be surprised if you see differences between the two. That's normal. Just know if you're going to apply for any type of credit, like a loan or a credit card, they are going to look at your FICO score.
Those are all great tips and information. But Capri, if someone has a question, one of the listeners out there is sitting here today and they say, hey, well, how do I get this information? If I want to see my credit report, if I want to see my credit score, where do I even start? How do I get that information?
That's a great question, Cedric. You're entitled by law to a free copy of your credit report from each of the three major credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, at least once a year. But here's the good news. As of 2023, you can now check your credit reports every single week for free at annualcreditreport.com. That's the only website approved by the federal government, so watch out for those lookalike sites that might try to charge you. Remember, way back when, if you're a millennial, freecreditreport.com. It is not that one. It is annualcreditreport.com. That site gives you a safe and reliable way to see what's on your credit report, make sure everything is accurate, and it is free.
That is a hilarious call out because I specifically remember that I'm a millennial. That's burned into my head, the freecreditreport.com. So that's a good one. But just for everybody, just remember, just to be clear, your free credit report doesn't always come with a credit score. That's why it's important to review the report itself for accuracy, even if you don't see a score attached. If the score isn't a part of the report, that's okay. You still just want to make sure the information that's in your report is accurate. If you want to get your actual score, there are a lot of free ways to do so. For example, Experian lets you see your free FICO score. If you sign up for an account with them, they'll give you a FICO 8 score. So they'll be able to let you see what your FICO is with them. Also, the other two bureaus, Equifax and TransUnion, they offer access to your Vantage scores for free. So just like Kapria mentioned earlier about Vantage score, it is a little different from FICO. But even if the scores are not the same, remember that the information in your report is the most important part. Don't necessarily get hung up on the scores. You want to check and make sure that information is correct. And also, a lot of banks and credit card companies today will show you your score for free right in their apps. So right now, there's a ton of free resources. Credit Karma is one that you can use. Again, just remember that there will always be a difference between Vantage score and FICO scores, but they're able to help give you an estimate of where your scores are. Be careful, like Kapria mentioned, some services may try to charge you, but the good news is there are plenty of truly free options out there today that don't require a credit card or any purchases to review your credit score.
That's great information, Cedric. And the important part isn't which score you're looking at, it's checking it regularly, spotting changes, making sure the information is correct, and focusing on building healthy financial habits. So let's say someone has little or no credit history. How can they get started?
That's a good question, Capria. And there are a few options they can use to get started. So First is a secured credit card. It's a little different from what we traditionally think of as a regular credit card that we just apply for and get approved, and we get the card back in the mail and can start using it instantly. Secured credit card is a little different because it does require you to put down a deposit. So for example, you could put down 200 or 300. You'll go to your bank and you may just put that money in a separate account. And then once you do that, they can open you up a secured credit card. And that money that you just put in that account will now become the credit card limit for the new card you just opened it. So you want to just use it for small purchases, pay it off on time, and this can help you build credit. And if you use it responsibly, you can potentially get your deposit back. And depending on the type of bank you use, they could even transition that from a secured card to a traditional unsecured credit card. So that's one option you can use. Depending on the bank as well, there may be an option called a credit builder loan. So some credit unions, some banks also offer these options, but a credit builder loan is kind of in the name. It's meant to help you build credit. So what you'll do is it's actually not a loan at all. You won't necessarily receive the money. What you'll do is you'll make monthly payments or bi-weekly payments, just depending on the type of loan you set up, and you'll be paying yourself. So you're putting that money in a savings account and you're adding to your own savings, but the credit company or the bank is going to actually report it as if you're making a payment on the loan. So when you look at your credit report, you'll see that savings account appear as a loan, and it'll make it seem like, just for example, if you're making a $25 monthly payment, it'll look as if you're taking out a loan and paying the bank. But the truth is you're just paying yourself. So you're building up that account and you're also helping your credit in the same way. So it's a good way to build some positive credit history. Another option can be an authorized user. So you do want to be careful with this option. An authorized user is basically what we call joint credit. It'll show up on the credit a little differently. It'll show that this person is authorizing you to be a user on that account, but you get all of the history that comes from that person. So if it's good history, that can help your credit, but if it's bad history, that can hurt your credit. So just keep in mind that you want to use somebody, if you do take that option, be careful. Use somebody that is responsible with their credit, somebody that has good credit history, that hasn't missed a payment, and it has a good solid foundation to help you build on. And just remember, you don't even have to have a card or use the card for that to be an option, but it could help, especially if you use a trusted person, someone you know who manages their credit responsibly.
I love all of these options. And one more important tip, if you're starting with a secured card, don't feel like you need to spend a lot. Even just putting your Netflix bill or your gas each month on a card, then paying it off is enough to start building positive payment history.
So, Capri, another question is, we talked about credit, we've talked about what it is, but what if someone isn't necessarily trying to start new credit like we talked about in the last question? What if somebody has credit already but has had some challenges before? Maybe there were some late payments in the past. Maybe their credit score is a little lower right now and they want to start working to improve it. What can they do?
Well, first, don't panic. Credit is fixable, and here are a few steps. If you're not paying your bills on time, from now on, pay all of your bills on time, especially the ones that's reporting to the creditors. Even if you can only make the minimum balance, do it consistently. Bring any past due balances current. If there are any past due accounts, bring those balances current as soon as possible. Remember, payment history is a big chunk of your score. Lower your balances. If you can bring down what you owe compared to your limit, your score will usually go up, and it will usually go up quite quickly. Check for errors. Look at your credit report and dispute any mistakes. And try to avoid opening a bunch of new accounts at once. That can actually hurt you in the short term. And also, you don't want it to look that you are using your credit as a means to pay your bills.
That's right, Capri. And those are all great points. And one thing I always say is credit doesn't go down over the night. The scores don't drop overnight. And the scores won't improve overnight. They won't magically go up instantly, but they can improve. They will improve. The big thing is just making sure you're taking the right habits, taking the right steps, and the scores will come eventually. You just want to focus on building great sustainable habits, and those scores will come.
And if someone listening feels like, This is great, but I still need some one-on-one help. What can they do?
That's a great point, and that's where we come in. So, as financial coaches here at Scholas on the financial coaching team, one benefit for learners is we offer free one-on-one support. So we can meet virtually through Zoom, look at your specific credit report, and help you make a plan to improve it if it needs work. If it doesn't, and you just want to have somebody to talk with you and support you along the way, we can do that as well. And just keep in mind, it's not just credit alone. We can also help with budgeting, saving, managing debt, talking through your financial goals, whatever financial questions you may have. We are here to assist and coach and help you along the way.
Exactly. And you don't need to wait until you feel overwhelmed. Sometimes the best time to reach out is when you're just starting, so you can build healthy habits from the beginning.
So, Kapria, we've talked a lot about credit. We've gone through what is credit, how does credit work. We've talked about what makes up a credit score, how you can start building, how you can start improving your credit. So, we've kind of gone through a lot of different topics, but to wrap things up, I'm going to give you 4 takeaways that you can use to start applying. So, first, remember, credit is your financial reputation, and it can affect everything from jobs and housing to loans. Second, the two biggest factors that make up your credit score is payment history, which accounts for 35% of your credit score, and amounts owed, which counts for 30% of your credit score. So just those two things alone, paying your obligations and monthly bills on time, as well as keeping your balance as low as possible, those two things account for 65% of your credit score.
And third, if you're just getting started, a secured card, a credit builder loan, or becoming an authorized user are all great ways to build positive credit history. And finally, don't forget, you can check your credit reports and scores for free. Visit annualcreditreport.com for your reports and get your scores directly from the credit bureaus or through many bank and credit card apps. No cost, no credit card needed. And remember, you don't have to do this alone. If you want support, reach out to us, the Perscolas Financial Coaching Team. We love to meet with you and help you build your credit and reach your financial goals.
That's right. That's what we're here for. We're happy to help. And we just want to thank you all so much for listening to episode 2 of the Financially Forward podcast. Please stay tuned for more upcoming episodes, more topics, more guests, and we promise to always give you information that will help you move financially forward.
We'll see you next time.
See you all later.